about the family at rest because we have been at rest, but even more than that.
Do you see?
Do I see what? Oh yeah, we have been at rest. We've been in a swimming pool, and actually our kids live in that thing lately.
Pretty much, yes. So
Yeah.
we're on vacation, and for all of you who I got like feet of snow the last week, basically, so sorry. We did it. It's actually kind of cold here. He's wearing a sweater. You can actually see like there's like steam coming off the pool. It's not that warm.
No, it's
but
not
it's
that warm.
way warmer than the feet of snow that a lot of other people are getting.
That's very true. So tonight we're talking about the family at rest, and
I think because I think this has been the number one request when we speak at churches, and that's been the number one request.
Yeah.
Is that's what the families are struggling with, is they're tired, they're emotionally exhausted, they're physically exhausted, and they don't have enough time for one another.
And
right?
and I mean, I literally just got off of a trip talking about this very thing at a church. The conference was called Breathe, and the whole idea was talking about families at rest.
Yeah.
And the idea is that we're so busy. I mean, we're just so busy.
I want to ask, okay, hi Lizetta. Okay, so comment where you're from, where you're watching from, and how much snow you got, if you got snow. Or if you didn't, if you're fortunate enough to be on spring break, that'd be great too.
Yeah, we were fortunate enough to be there.
We're almost done ours though. We're going home, so.
Yeah.
But anyway.
Which is sad. Our son's sad. We were at dinner tonight and he was sad.
So
we're talking about the family at rest.
Okay.
One of the reasons that this is important is because anxiety is an issue in kids today. And I have an article here that it was Christy actually is the one who showed it to me. It was an article out of Christianity Today called "Why Are Our Children So Anxious?" And it sounds like we have some Harley Davidsons coming in down the street. So
we'll just talk louder.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Talk louder. The Harleys are driving around. Why our children are so anxious, unpacking the reasons behind childhood and adolescent anxiety, because it's an issue today. And one of the biggest things that we have found, well, in the article, one of the counselors who we know and lives in Nashville talked about that 20 years ago, it literally says 20 years ago, you'd have 1 in every 20 kids coming in,
dealing with
for
anxiety. Yeah.
Today it's as many as 16 out of 20.
Isn't that insane?
And so, and
that's insane.
And what they attribute a lot of this to, screens are a big one.
Yeah.
As we talk on this screen right now, screens are a big one. Number one, but number two is that it's a trickle down effect from us as parents. It's a trickle down effect because we're so busy. We're running all the time. It's a constant go. And we ran into this with T-ball and when I wanted to sign Landon up for Tiny Tots Wrestling, right? At
Have you
4
even
years
heard of
of
such a
age.
thing? Tiny Tots Wrestling. It's basically toddlers wrestling.
And it was at the same time as T-ball, which was really crazy for us at 4. And we're just going, oh my gosh, what are we doing? And it was only a 2-week camp, and it was just the idea was for us to be able to see if we liked it.
Yeah.
But it was pretty crazy there for a while.
Well, and I think even in the day-to-day, so we're not into as much of the scheduling stuff yet. Like we've tried to stay away from that, as for right now our kids are little. But more for us, it's just the rush of everything.
Yeah.
Like my kids will ask, and yours probably do all the time, where are we late, Mom?
Yeah.
Or are we in a hurry?
Well, and even
because
most
we're
recently,
late, right?
it's and
so
even most
they just feel like you're pushing them all
and
the
even
time.
most recently, it's like, why do we have to go so fast?
Yes.
Yeah. Part of that's because we take forever to get ready, and then all of a sudden we run up to the clock.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we have one child that's a type A will run at the pace we run, and one who is not, who is a total type B and wants to take their time.
Yeah.
And we don't.
It doesn't fit well for us because that's not who we are.
But I think it's caused us to notice it.
And one of the biggest things that I talked about last weekend in this whole talk, and the whole idea is what are you chasing? What are you chasing? Because so many of us are chasing things. It's all about, that's why the Sabbath was created. I'm just going to jump there. Like the one point tonight that I really I think we want to drive home is the whole idea of the Sabbath was created for us.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, Jesus describes in Mark that the Sabbath was created for us, not us for the Sabbath. So it's not about, the whole idea behind the Sabbath is so that we do not start idolizing right? I mean, you look at
Work.
the Ten Commandments, you start, have no other gods before me. If we don't rest, if we don't Sabbath, if we don't go to the Lord first, what ends up happening is we start idolizing other things, work, kids, family, and then there's the whole list of bad things that we could also be idolizing and turning to as well. So tell us where you're from. Stacy, you're from Tennessee, and it's cold in Tennessee.
I saw Bradenton, Florida. I saw somewhere in Pennsylvania, I think it was. Oh, yeah, just Pennsylvania. 18 inches, that's awful. I'm Canadian, so
And my family's in Pennsylvania, and that 18 inches looks about the same as what they got, so that's pretty crazy. Yeah. And we were sending pictures of the kids in the swimming pool while they were getting the 18 inches of snow.
And we live in Nashville. Well, we're not in Nashville now, if you haven't figured out.
Yeah,
but
we're in Florida.
They got snow.
So. So a couple different points for us, because this has been huge for us, and it's something that we have been trying to implement in our own home, so that our kids aren't feeling this pressure, this anxiety. Number one, the Sabbath.
We're not feeling it too.
Yeah, well, that we're not. Well, and that's just it. And the whole idea of a family at rest begins by the inner work of us as parents taking a Sabbath. Because one research study found this, and this is a fascinating research study. It found that it was a meta-analysis of 10 different parenting strategies, the most effective parenting strategies that get the outcomes we're looking for in our kids. Number one was love and affection. Number two, believe it or not, is how we as parents manage our stress.
Isn't that
crazy? It's an indirect relationship to our children, but it's how we as parents manage our stress. And so when you think about it in that regard, we're not even talking about discipline strategies. We're talking about how we manage stress. If we're not going to the Lord and we're not taking a Sabbath, it's that inner working. And you just can't quit working and expect to be rested. It's not just quitting work and expecting to be rested. There's got to be a Sabbath there. And one of the ways that we have started to look into this as how we take a rest is going back to Genesis chapter 1. And
this is fascinating. I didn't know this until, a week ago?
And so when
you told me this?
Yeah, so when God is working, like God is creating the world, right? He's creating earth, he's creating everything, and he's creating everything, and every now and again he stops and he says, it is good. Like he just stops and says, it is good. And so for I look at that and you realize, and then on the seventh day, God rested. And God... Our family is here with us, and they are being so funny right now. That is amazing. So
I won't even.
That was awesome.
That was awesome. That was a naked baby bum.
That was a naked baby bum
on
against
the
glass.
Of this
Yeah, that was awesome. So we are. So now I've lost my train of thought.
I don't know. Sabbath. We need one. We're trying to learn it.
God took a rest, but God didn't need to take a rest. He didn't need the rest. He's God. But he took a rest to celebrate the work that he'd already done. How often do we stop and take a break to celebrate the work that we have already done?
Yeah.
And this is something you've talked about because it's the chase.
Right. Well, we've just been talking, like, what are we chasing? Like, what are we going after? That it feels like that treadmill, right? Or the hamster wheel. Like you're chasing after something, and it's like you don't even know. I don't know if you know if you could put into words what it is you're chasing, because once you get it, there's no number value or success points where you think like I've made it, like I'm there, because the marker always moves.
It moves, yeah.
So what are we really chasing?
So that whole idea, and the whole idea behind that is you think, and again, I'm all for sports, but let's take, for instance, a travel sports team, and you get your kids on travel sports, and you're all excited about getting them signed up, and all of a sudden they make the travel sports team, but then it's all about making the all-star team. Then all of a sudden it's about making what? Then it's all of a sudden, what? Oh, you're thinking about the baby butt. Like, and then it's all about the next thing, until we're constantly chasing, but we're never satisfied. We never stop to celebrate the moments and what God is doing in our lives. So take a Sabbath, number one. Number two, think about your stress in your life as a parent. What are the things that cause you the most stress? What are the things that you fear the most? And start to write those down and start to think about those. And then Because this is the internal work. If we can't rest our brains about how we're doing as parents or how we're working and those types of things, we're not going to be able to rest. We've got to give these things to the Lord in a Sabbath, or we're not going to
we've
rest.
just noticed that it steals our ability to just be present, right? Like in the present moment. It's something I'm kind of studying a little bit right now about mindfulness, like being in the present moment. But when we can't be present with our kids, we can't be present with our spouse. Like we can't just get on the floor and play with them or step into their world when we're so consumed by the treadmill. Right?
Right, and so one of the
Whatever
ways
that is, that
one of the
drives
ways
us.
to do this, if you go back to Genesis 1 and you look at the way God organized the day, it says there was evening. So we're taking a Sabbath, but how do we start the Sabbath? We always started in worship, and that's as a family, as an individual, started in worship. You start with the Lord because you have to go to. He is the Sabbath. Jesus is the Sabbath. He became the Sabbath when he died on the cross. And so that whole idea there is that what I love so much about this passage is it says evening came and then morning. And when you
I've
look
never
at the
thought about
Bible, the day starts with sundown. And so if you think about this, it's like God saying, and I heard his name slipped in my mind. Hold on a second. I heard a pastor preach on this, and I want to make sure I give him credit. John Lindo at in Ozark, Missouri. A church in Ozark, Missouri. Assembly, James River Assembly. I heard him preach on this, and it was so powerful because the way that he described it was, okay, so God is getting up in the morning, or God's day begins in the evening, and at sundown. And so he's saying, okay, let's have dinner first. So think about this. Think about your day with God. God's saying, all right, we're going to start the day and we're going to eat first. Before we do anything else, let's have dinner together.
It's the best part.
And let's have dinner together.
Yeah.
Now that we've had dinner, I want you to go to take a 7 or 8 hour nap. Go take a 7 or 8 hour nap. Don't worry about anything, because while you're sleeping, I'm going to take care of everything that you need in life. I'm going to take care of it all. Then when you wake up in the morning, it says Adam and Eve walked with God in the cool of the morning. When you wake up, I want you to spend some time with me. I want you to walk with me because I want to tell you a little bit about what I've been doing while you've been sleeping. And then for the rest of the hours that we have left, I want to send you out to work. I want to send you out to work the land. I want to send you out to do what I have been doing while you've been sleeping. And to complete that. And then we're going to start our day, and that's how our day ends, and we're going to start it all over at dinner again. And the whole idea, even just thinking about starting our day like that, and it beginning with evening and then comes morning, that whole idea, it just changes the way you step outside the box, and you realize that everything that we're working is already good, and we can celebrate it, and we can rest. But our culture doesn't teach us that. Our culture is complete opposite of that. So.
And I think that's where we're realizing we just have to be intentional with it. Like the celebration.
The celebration part, yeah. And even with our kids, and this is why I talked about parenting fears, because when we fear, because why? Our kids aren't getting the grades that other parents' kids are. Our kids aren't keeping up in sports. Our kids aren't keeping up, and so it comes back on us as parents. And so, for those of you watching, what are the ways that you find that you rest as a family? How do you rest as a family? One of the key ways that we talk about this, you always begin in worship. I talked about the Sabbath. Find hobbies that you love to do as a family. One of the things we started doing was building shelves, woodworking, that kind of thing in the house. Just things that do not have any relation whatsoever to what you do for work. Yes. So that would be one of them. Another big one is unplugging. We talk a lot about unplugging. We also put a link there tonight for you guys to ways of reclaiming yourself in the midst of parenthood that you can download. Go ahead and do that, because a lot of us just need to reclaim ourselves first, because it goes back to us. Yeah. Family game nights, dance parties in the kitchen.
Love that.
Love these things. Yeah. And again, no technology, unplugging.
Like this while we've been away, I delete apps from my phone. So I've deleted Instagram and Facebook and any of the ones that you just kind of mindlessly go to, and that's huge for me. Like, I have no idea what's going on in the world, but I'm totally okay with that.
Yeah.
For right now. I mean, I know I'll get back on there, I'm sure, when we're home, but just that break, and sometimes I think you just need permission to just not be around everyone.
Unstructured play is another one that we talk about. We're getting ready to start camping as a family this spring. Love it.
We tried
Unplugged
that.
all the way. We're going to do it this year.
I know.
Our daughter was a little bit
Yeah.
just not ready
We
yet.
tried it in the backyard. It didn't last very long, but
Here's the deal. Unstructured play is so important because, and again, it goes back to that question, what are you chasing? Like, and I think that's the thing we have to keep asking ourselves is what are we chasing so much that's causing us to
not be able to rest.
not be able to rest, not be able to rest our brains, and not truly be present with our family and our kids. And that's the biggest issue for all of us, I think.
Yeah.
So unstructured play. I love thinking about my Meemaw's house growing up, my grandma's house. It was so what the chase is not. It was so much homemade games. It was homemade Christmas decorations and Christmas ornaments. It was lighting candles. It didn't matter what time of the year it was. Lighting candles in the dark if we stayed over at her house and we sang Silent Night. It was playing in the. It was playing out back in the sand because she lived next to a block company. It was the ability to be able to be present.
Yeah.
Going back to those simple days, unplugging.
Well, and I think about we've had our whole family here, which has been so great, and we spent 90% of our time outside, and even that alone.
Just getting outside. If you can.
Now
it's
we're in a
winter
place.
time.
Well, no, I know we're in a place where we can, but I think just recognizing just how life-giving that is. Like we just live inside. We live in four walls.
And especially if you're with kids all day long,
Yeah.
you can just get caught in a cycle of thinking that is anything but rest.
Yes. Yeah.
Or restful. And so, and the world will lie to you and say that rest is found then in your phone because it's your only break for the day. It's like, oh, well,
It feels mindless.
It just
and
feels
numb
mindless and it
yeah.
feels like I just need to go figure out what's going on because I've been stuck in these four walls all day. And we're talking to primarily to stay-at-home parents, moms and dads.
But I think
but it's
working
not
parents
restful.
are the same
It's
thing.
still
Yeah.
you still don't feel rested, and that's the
or
whole
you come
point.
home and you stare at a TV screen and watch Netflix all night, or
Because the
something.
reality is this: you will not feel rested if you are not spending time with the Lord. He is the only true rest. You will continue to feel unrested otherwise.
Can you tell someone's passionate about it? Because he's terrible at it.
Unstructured play makes me feel like I'm doing something right. When they're not in school, it's what we do. Love when kids just love to sit and play Legos. Unstructured play is gold for a child's brain.
Oh, like the kids
too.
were climbing trees today. When was the last time we watched the kids climb trees?
Mm.
It was amazing. Like not even the playground, like just a tree. They just found a tree and started climbing up the tree because they could.
Delilah, we're going to pray for you tonight. Husband just left for military orders for a bit, and she's losing it. Delilah, we're totally... we have been closing our Facebook Lives in prayer, and tonight we're going to pray specifically for you and for the other families in the military and others who are just in those four walls tonight and having a hard time resting. I think just even beginning, and I have no idea, I don't even want to begin to understand your circumstance, but even finding the 10 to 15 minutes, maybe before the kids are out of bed or whatever that looks like, just to get prayer time, get time for you to walk in the cool of the day with the Lord, whatever that looks like. But we really want to honor you tonight and honor all those military families out there. So let's do that. Let's go ahead now and pray. God, we just want to thank you tonight for Delilah. We thank you for all these families, especially the military families and those who are sacrificing for the sake of our country. I just pray for them tonight, for those moms, for those children. And as we talk about as we close out every prayer on Facebook Live, I just pray that every child represented would come to know you and love you and serve you with all their hearts and all their minds and all their souls. I just pray also that you would be with these moms, be with these stay-at-home dads even, give these military families in particular respite, and help them all to understand that true rest is only found in you, that it is when we turn to you that we can rest. God, give us ways to be able to do that. We pray this in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
Guys, help us also that we could share with us ways that you rest. We want to know ways that you rest because this is the conversation that we can create here on Facebook, and we love those conversations.
Yeah,
So
and
do
even
that.
in the simple ways, like turning off apps on your phone, or shutting off your phone, or shutting off television.
Yeah, we want to learn
whatever
from you.
that is
for
for you.
sure. So,
Okay.
see you guys next week.
I hope it's warmer. for you.
Yeah,
where
me
you
too.
are.
I hope it's warmer for us. We're going to be at home
Yeah.
in Tennessee.
Yeah. Bye.
All right. Bye, guys.